Welcome to War Journal, Flames of War. And this podcast is our thoughts and discussions about the Flames of War games and other related interests. This episode is brought to you by Tracy George and Chaos Magic. We are not claiming to be experts of the game, but just wanted to have a casual conversation about Flames of War. Without any further delay, we now make our advance onto the podcast. And here are your hosts, Tracy and Arthur.
This is Tracy. And I'm Arthur. Welcome to the Halloween episode of War Journal, Flames of War. This is episode 18, Supers, Missions, and a High Castle. What's on tap for today's episode, Arthur?
We have 5 topics of interest. They are... Okay, enough of this.
Oh, this is cool.
Yeah, wherever. We have 5 topics of interest. We talk more about Team Yankee and catch up on the question of the week in front page news. Tracy reviews a new show on Amazon Prime and Recon. In More War, we look at missions and how to apply Sun Tzu to them, as requested by fans. We continue our conversation involving the chapter Waging War in Sun Tzu. And we end with an off-topic discussion on a superhero card game.
Arthur, you just wish you could talk like this.
Whatever.
Yeah, this is cool. We should do the whole episode like this.
Hell no.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Battlefront Front Page news.
All right, looking at the front page, it's a lot of great war. Yeah. There was something that did catch your interest.
Well, they mentioned the last chance to get their Desert Forts. I guess they just finished producing them. The Desert Fort, I recognize them from the North African book.
Yeah.
It's like, I think if you play a defender there, or one of the armies you could play there, you could pick one up for like 150 points.
Oh.
Or 300 points. Or some X amount of points is a part of your force as a defender. So that's why I was aware of these. So that could be interesting.
Yeah, it does look kind of neat. But the problem I have with the desert, it just looks, desert map and everything, it just really looks bland. a lot of khaki, tan.
That's true, but I don't paint realistic, so.
Yeah.
So. But
yeah.
outside of that, lots of Great War and tournament stuff.
Mm-hmm. Now the Breakthrough Assault guys they updated some of the stuff, and one of them was the rules that were coming out. Yeah. And some of the things that were kind of interesting about the rules was like command distance now. Everybody has to be within 6 inches of the leader.
Oh,
it used to be, remember, I could take my troops and just spread them out, and I'd take this platoon and I'd spread them out, you know?
Yeah.
So you can't do that anymore.
And like what is it? There's something else about them. Like, isn't it like you only count a command at the beginning or end?
Well, there's somebody you can target them, and if they die, I think somebody else just takes over, or something like that.
I meant from movement. I think like.
Oh, they can leave. You can leave. They can go off. I think some things can go off by themselves, but they have like +1 to hit. Where before, those guys wouldn't do anything. They just sit if they were left behind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If they get out of command, they remain in place and suffer no penalties. They can move at tactical speed, suffering a penalty +1 to hit, or they can move at a dash speed towards the unit leader.
Yeah. It's been a while since I read these.
Yeah, same here.
Movement. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is like all movement is based on the vehicle itself, so nothing universal.
Yeah, and then you got those like you can move before you shoot, before you even move, you can move, and then there's like you can move after you shoot or something like that. They've incorporated just it's a skill test now. Yeah, for your team. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, special rules, special movement stuff.
And kind of I think the spotters, you don't really need spotters anymore. I mean, like a dedicated.
Yeah.
You can bombard by picking one of the leaders.
Like one thing I'm most looking forward to is they finally answered the air power stuff. Is actually their own unit.
Yep. And so if you lose them, that's part of
Yeah, it
morale.
matters. Yeah. Helicopters, I think, stay on the board, but
Right.
airplanes come on and come off. But
And,
it come on as a unit, so.
and now they got like an armor save,
Yeah.
the airplanes now, so it follows on with a lot of the other rules, normal rules for shooting and saving. So yeah, the models, I saw like a video somebody took too on YouTube from Essen, and the models look really nice. And they did also videoed the cards that were with them.
I think when they mentioned that those videos are not going to be the same kind of plastic as the final versions of.
Right, I think most of those were resin.
Yeah. The big deal was because the Heinz, the blades kind of built in. And it
I
said,
am so droopy.
like, so then it said, like, the actual models, they ain't not going to droop like that.
I hope so. That was. Seems like they could have tried to heat up the resin and bent it back. I don't know if you could do that or not. I remember like Battle Lore figures. I got the first edition ones. You could put them in hot water and bend them what you want, and put them in cold water, and they would stay. So I don't know if you could somehow blow dry the resin to kind of and then try to straighten it up and then cool
Yeah, I
it.
don't know. 'Cause, like, I know Reaper Games, they have a model section called Bones, and they have suggestions of, like, if they're not in the proper formation, you get them, do the same thing. Put them in hot water, move them, and put them in cold water. But it also mentioned if they ever get really hot again, it will go back to their original form.
Oh.
But that's one thing to keep in mind. But yeah, same kind of, I guess, similar kind of material.
Well, my last thing I got to say about this, about the Team Yankee thing on this is, I was listening to the podcast and Phil says, no, this is not 4th edition because 3rd edition's working really well. Everything he kept saying in that podcast, well, it just isn't working the way we thought. So we're doing it this way. This just isn't working the way we thought. Or if I could do the rules over, this is what I would do Flames of War like. So he can't tell me that this isn't what they're heading towards.
I think his point was we're not redoing World War II with 4th edition yet. I think if we decide to, especially since they've got new rules coming out or new stuff coming out, that they would have to redo. They don't want to redo all this stuff right now in other new edition.
Right.
But if they did, this is probably the new system to go with.
Yeah, what I've saw so far, I've liked.
Yeah.
I like the cards. It's easy to make a force now. I don't need the computer program.
Yeah.
And you buy a few models and it comes with the cards. So.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a lot of questions to answer, don't we?
Yeah.
Or do you got something else?
Oh, and one more thing, like something else Big Through Assault brought up was like background fiction. They list a lot of books that are set in World War III. They could read to get inspired by, which of course one of them being Team Yankee. But like, I was kind of surprised how many books there were.
Really? I haven't looked. I read Team Yankee. You're reading it right now.
Yeah,
I
I'm not a
still remember
reader.
Team Yankee book.
Kind of funny they have your version of the book.
Oh,
on
they
there.
do, don't they?
Yep. But like they have like Tom Clancy's Red Storm Rising, Chieftain, The Red Effect. Oh yeah, I think they mentioned that this one, The Red Effect is. Oh no. The Red Army is like mentioned like that one is from the Soviet point of view. So, and of course the Third World War, First Clash, Red Thrust. So yeah, I didn't quite realize there were that many World War III books to read.
At least what they're listing. It's probably more. Yeah, because no, that was a World War II one. Never mind. It was a World War II one I'm thinking about. So, yeah, I haven't read too many World War III books.
Yeah, I'm a slow reader. I'm halfway through Team Yankee, but once I get through it, we'll talk about it.
You'll just have to remind me everything that was in it, because it's been a while. It's been what, a couple of weeks since I gave you the book. I was done a couple weeks before that, I think. So, all right. So I think what are we on? 91, which we answered, but the answer was not provided.
Right.
All right, so this is ride them down. Okay, so an infantry platoon fails its motivation test to counterattack the assaulting cavalry teams and therefore have to break off. All the infantry teams in their break-off movement between 4 inches and 8 inches from the assaulting cavalry teams. Which of the infantry teams survive? So I'll just go with our choices. I said C, which was teams that are in the buildings. And you said D, which are teams that are in rough terrain. And I didn't see multiple choice. You didn't see multiple choice, so let's go down.
I wonder if it's going to be multiple choice.
It's multiple choice, I think.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I knew it.
I hate when they do that. Why didn't they give me a choice? Because the teams are in line of sight. Okay, I'm not happy with that one. I've been careful to look for that multiple choice from that one time, and then they don't give it to us on this one.
Yep, so it's pretty much B, C, D, and E.
So teams that are... So everything but all infantry teams within... Wait, which ones was it? B, C... So it was not A, which was none. All infantry teams within 8 inches of the assaulting cavalry team are destroyed. But that's not true.
Yeah.
Because it depends upon if they're in a building, linear terrain, which you're talking about linear obstacles there, rough terrain, and you're not line of sight. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a feeling because I knew I was right. Because I knew it said, I remember reading about it, said, you can't do it in rough terrain.
I remember reading about they couldn't do things. They couldn't even. I don't think they can even shoot things that are in a building.
Yeah, and then that's combined like, I think that sounds right too.
Oh, so I feel cheated.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to move to 92, which is line of sight question. A Soviet tankovy company advances across a clearing towards a German HMG platoon, closely followed by a Strelkovy company. In the following German turn, the HMG platoon elects to open fire on the Strelkovy company. All the lines of sight to the Russian infantry are completely blocked by the advancing Russian tanks. What level of concealment will apply? See explanations below. Okay, that's just in the thing. Okay, so we got A, visible, B, concealed, C, no line of sight. I'm going to go with that answer.
I say C.
I'm going to say A, because I don't think no tanks can give concealment unless they're destroyed. That's my guess. They're visible. As a bonus question, what? Okay, so it is because the only way to get concealment from a vehicle is if it's destroyed. All right, but there's something about a bonus question. As for the bonus question, what bonus question? Oh. What level of concealment will apply when the HMGs fire? Do you see the bonus question? No, somebody goes, no bonus? Question mark. So there apparently is no bonus question, from what I see.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we'll go on. So we're done with that one. 93. We got 95, what we're going to, so we're at 93. Okay, an American commander wishes to fire a bombardment using a devastating bombardment template. While aligning the template, he notices that several teams from one of his own platoons is covered by the template. Is he allowed to fire when a friendly team is located under the template? So we got A, you are, as long as you aren't using a friendly team as the aiming point. It may hurt though. B, you are, but only if the friendly teams are fully armored or in bulletproof cover. C, why not? The rules don't allow hit allocations to friendly teams, removing the risk. D, of course not. You should feel ashamed for considering doing this, you farging bastage. Okay. Make sure there's no bonus. Okay, so I'm going to go with that.
My answer is D.
D. I said A. As long as they're part of your aiming. Remember, you can do friendly fire. I don't think you, like what they said, you just can't aim at your own dudes. What's the answer? A. Because there are times, like, I've had my template hitting an enemy, but my guys are underneath it. I was like, well, do I want to? But I really got to get these guys, I'm aiming at, take care of. So, yes, you can.
Well, wow.
I think it's just you can't, like what they said here, you just can't say, I'm going to aim at my own guy here. Especially if he's in the open, so it'll be easier to hit. So then you're going to, or to range in, so then it's easier to hit everything around it. So.
Yeah, it's just, what's your location, sir?
Well, it's kind of like those ones where they, like Platoon, the movie Platoon, or some other movies, they'll go, all right, at these coordinates, but sir, that's where you're at. Go, do it, because they're just being overwhelmed and overrun. So they just So I think as long as, well, what it said there, so as long as your guy's not.
I didn't know. I played so many games where you cannot fire at all that you can hit your own guys.
Really? Well, not in Flames of War. It's World War II, man. This isn't high tech. I mean, it's high tech, but it's not precise. Let's go with that. Okay, so 94 is seek and hide. Not hide and seek, but seek and hide. All right. If I want to fire a smoke bombardment, I must do it at the beginning of my shooting step. Can I use a recce platoon to reveal a gone-to-ground enemy platoon before I fire a smoke bombardment at it? Yes. No. All right, I got my answer.
I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to go no. Because fire bombardment's the first thing. Oh, you know what? I may change my answer here. Because it's when you're going to fire, it has to be the first thing you fire. But your eyes and ears, isn't that the movement step? So this is the movement step, so.
I'm not sure if it is.
Oh, no, I guess you can do it. It's in shooting step.
It's
Yeah,
a
right.
shooting
So,
step.
boy, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like I thought it was. It's not. Doesn't have to be the very first thing you do. Now I'm thinking about it. It has to be if you're going to shoot. It has to be the first. This is a tough one. Now that I'm thinking about it. I'm going to, for once, today, I'm going to agree with you, Arthur. We're going to go A. We both have disagreed so far, and I'm yeah, A. Got it. The correct answer is yes.
Yep. Smoke bomb must be fired at the beginning of this step before all other shooting. A team that reveals an enemy platoon does not count as having shot.
I thought I was going to get it right with B, and I was like, oh, you made me start thinking about it. All right. So now we got the last one, 95, leaving the battlefield. A sole surviving infantry team is expecting to run out of luck and therefore decides to leave the battlefield by moving off the table from its deployment zone. What happens with the team and its platoon? A, the team is removed and unable to return to the table. B, the team is automatically destroyed. C, the platoon must pass a motivation test or be destroyed. D, the platoon must pass a skill test or be destroyed. E, the platoon is ignored for the rest for all game purposes. I'm going to go with that answer. I don't know, really.
I'm going to go, I don't know. C or D, C or D, C or D.
I'll let you know. I picked one of those. So we may agree on this one too.
They're like, I remember I read this, and I know it's a test. I forgot which test it was. I'll go with C.
I went with D. And the answer is next time. I really do think it's a skill test, not so much a motivation. Did they escape? Kind of
Yeah.
thing, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I could not remember. I knew it was as a test, but I can't remember which one.
All right, soldier, at ease. What is it?
Sir, I just got the Recon report in. There's some interesting developments in it. The report says...
All right, I watched on Amazon Prime. It's 2 episodes. So they're kind of like the pilot, but I only seen the first one. And the show was called The Man in the High Castle. And it's based on, I guess, a 1962 novel. And basically, Germany and the Axis powers, Japan won World War II.
Oh.
And they have, so from like Kansas east is Germany. The west west of Colorado is Japan, and you have that neutral zone between them because they're not really allies anymore, so they have a neutral zone. And so this is happening in 1960s. World, it's over. They nuked Washington D.C. And so it's about this resistance that's starting up. And it was kind of weird watching it, and you're kind of like, okay, because it just starts in the middle, and it's 1962, and a lot of these people have grown up under the control of the Japanese or Germans. And but what was interesting was one of the things they're smuggling back into the neutral zone to meet. So this guy's coming from the German side, this lady's coming from the Japanese side, and they don't know each other. And they're going to Carson City, Nevada, and they're supposed to be waiting for somebody. And what they're smuggling is actually old film of America winning the war. And if they're caught with it, it's considered treason. And so one guy was not one of them, but the girl, her boyfriend was thinking, "No, it's fake." She's like, "No, this is real." So that's as far as I got. They were heading to Carson City, and they met up. And that's how far I've gotten so far. Wow. So it's really weird. I'm trying to figure out.
Wow.
So it's a pilot for a series, and the series is being picked up.
And what's it called?
The Man in the High Castle. The Man in the High Castle, I guess, is the one that's sending these films out. It was just weird. Like, okay, wait, Germany won, but they're actually it's like Iwo Jima, putting the flag up, that kind of stuff.
Okay,
So I'm kind of like interested because I'm like, what is going on? Okay, Germany and Japan won the war, but what's with these films that they're trying to smuggle?
That just seems strange.
So I haven't read any more because I want to be surprised. So I'm going to watch part 2 of the pilot, and this is on Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it's on Netflix or not because I don't have Netflix. I got Amazon Prime. It's on there, so I'm watching it there. I was like, oh, okay, I'll watch it, and it was kind of like, well, it's kind of interesting because I'm like totally confused. Okay, Germany won, but there's these films showing America won. What is actually going on here?
I have no answer to that.
So I watched that. So I'm going to watch the other part sometime soon and see what's going on with that. So I didn't want to give too many spoilers because there's some stuff that I could have said that I didn't want to give any spoilers of what's happening. So yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what else is going to happen.
Oh, that's already like, wait, what? My mind is. Hold on, I need to reboot my mind. Okay.
So for me, I would probably give it a 4-star general right now. I'm not like totally blown away, but I am intrigued because what's with these films that show America winning?
I definitely like to know more about it. So, I'm not sure if I'm up to the point I'm gonna see it myself or I want you to tell me. At least this part of it, some element on it, and I'll make my decision then. But I might look for it.
More war!
Really?
So you received a question from a listener.
Yeah, on Google Plus, I asked, I invited questions, and I only got one, but I thought it was a good one. It was from Steven Garcia, and he wanted us to discuss the missions in the rulebook, our take on the missions, and how we can apply Sun Tzu to them.
Okay.
That's kind of broad, so I thought it would be best just to take one mission and then see how that goes, and then go from there. So, starting with Free for All, that's the most basic mission, straightforward.
Everything's on the table.
Everything's on the table.
You start at one end, the other opponent's at the other end.
Both sides are the same. You place 2 objectives on your opponent's side, and I think the 3 big points about this mission is the terrain, objectives, and deployment.
Yep.
You need to really be conscious of where you place your objectives, because one, you want to make sure they're in a place where your forces won't have that much trouble getting to them.
Correct.
And you also need to make sure they're at least far enough apart that it'd be kind of hard for your opponent to sit on both objectives.
Correct.
So those are 2 things you need to keep in mind. So terrain affects that a lot.
Agree. Well, also the terrain, you can also look at the terrain heading up to the objective too. How's that going to affect?
Oh, that's also true. Because you also might pick a place where you have like a good place, a good opportunity for your forces to go and cover. It's like, okay, there's a lot of terrain here. Okay, my guys can move here and be covered. Over here, cover, and get to the terrain that way. That's another way to look at it.
Or like the buildings setting up, and you go, well, if I go to this side, that whole side of the table can't even see
Yeah.
what's coming up.
So there's some things you can think of. I was trying to think how you do deception. This mission's probably the hardest to do deception because everything's on the table. But one thing I thought of, it'd be hard if you could pull it off, is like for the 2 objectives, make one objective seem like the one you want to go for,
Right.
but you actually going for the other one, and then have little. Your opponent may not realize you have like fast things here, but you're just moving up slowly, and then have most of your force come from one direction, pull them all the way over there, and then beeline to the objective, and take it before he can get you off it. So that's one thing to look at.
Well, also, there is no attacker defender, and you don't know until you roll who has first turn in this one either.
That's correct.
You don't know, and then if you do have first turn, it kind of hoses you somewhat because your artillery you can't do artillery.
Can't do artillery.
Can't use your airplanes.
And all you guys count as movement for shooting purposes.
Right.
So yeah, this is a mission I don't want to go first.
Yeah.
Usually.
And it's a lot of digging in. Because I don't think anything's dug in on meeting engagement. That's why you can't do artillery bombardments and bring the airplane. So you have to say, oh, gosh, they're not dug in. So you have to do that skill test.
Oh, yeah.
So if your guys are conscripts, if you do have conscripts, it's 5. That's a fat chance.
Oh, yeah, so that's the other thing you need to plan around is like, your guys are not dug in, and you might not have first turn.
Right.
Or, of course, like, if you have a lot of artillery, you don't want first turn.
Right, that's one thing is like, this happened to me before is, I want to get my artillery shooting. It's like, God, I'm first. Okay, they're not going to do anything. Let's dig them in.
Yeah.
And with the rules, you can dig in and still do artillery. So it's like, I can't even, I can do what I want to, digging in no matter what. I just can't shoot. And stuff's not close enough to do a straight shot anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, this mission, let's see, got a big note. You got, 24-inch. You got 2 feet between both forces.
Yeah. And there's no turn limiter. It's whoever takes the objective wins.
So that's tough because they're in the opponent's.
Yeah, you have to go
zone.
all the way over there. But usually some of these missions is like you have to wait to turn 3 or turn 6 before you can win. This is you take the objective, you win.
Yeah, so it's like applying Sun Tzu. We kind of talking about it. I just don't. It's a neat thing to try to apply Sun Tzu to this, but to me, there's too many missing variables. Maybe somebody can give us a good question, like if it's this situation, what would be good? Because to me, we don't know what the terrain's like out here. Because we kind of talked about if this terrain was. We don't know what the opponent has. So what does he have sitting out there? If it's good assaulters, well, you don't want to go assaulting. But if they're not, and then what are you taking? So I would like to apply Sun Tzu, but I think it needs to be a little more like, okay, you got Recon on your left flank that can move, and you got your infantry in the middle, and your tanks are on the right side, and the opponent has this. And there's some bushes or forest in the middle. You know, what could you? That would give me more to work with than. I do think it's a neat question, like what would you do in this mission, like Sun Tzu kind of thing.
Yeah, I think there's some things you can apply to it, but my brain's just died.
Well, it's got a lot of missing pieces. It's kind of like what I said. It's kind of having a blank sheet of paper. Okay, how would you apply Sun Tzu to this? Well, we don't know what the terrain's like out there. We don't know, like if we were playing against each other, I don't know what you're playing. I don't know where the objectives are. I don't know what you have around the objectives, and I don't know what I'm playing.
You have a good idea where you can put your objectives are. Like if you know your rules for like, okay, I'm gonna put my objectives. You know your rules for where you're gonna set your objectives. Those are some things you can't plan ahead, and you know what kind of force you usually take. So you also need to keep those things in mind.
Well, it also kind of like we were talking earlier about wanting to do a battle report, and we were talking about, well, one of the things we could do is have like, I guess like, I don't know what it is, like some TV show or something like that. Person's telling them what they're planning to do or something like that. Okay, oh well, gosh, he moved those tanks up to the right side, and this, this turn, I'm thinking Sun Tzu, this turn, I'm going to do this, and then have it happen, and then the next person goes, oh, I didn't expect him to do that, so this is what I'm going to do this turn, and kind of apply Sun Tzu more that way, where it's actually.
Do you think you have time at the end of the year to play a game?
I might be around Thanksgiving or Christmas because there's no school.
Maybe go for Christmas. It'd be like our Christmas present. We probably do a
battle report, and we can do the
apply Sun Tzu to it while we play it.
And we can say, okay, here's what happened. This is what you're planning to do. Here's what actually happened. That would be interesting, I think.
So that'd be a long battle report because it'd be play around, and then, well, when the other person leaves the room,
it's going to be probably because you're going to have to stop and make sure it's probably going to be 4 to 6 hours because doing both things and then. Yeah.
Between playing the game and then analysis while we play the game.
Yeah. So talking about what you're going to do, and then here's what happened, and get set up again for the next person to tell what they're going to do, and here's what happened. And it does take a while to do battle reports. Believe me. It's not a quick. So I think unless somebody gives us more of a specific thing, I have trouble picturing all that's going on because like Sun Tzu is like use terrain. If it's bad for you, have them go through it or trick them into this. And
I'll put more time.
If they're weak, attack there. Yeah. If they're strong,
I'm gonna put more time thinking about the next mission or encounter.
Okay.
And see if I can come up with ways, just in general, to apply to encounter.
Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah. But I think we said enough for free for all.
Yeah. It's a work in progress right now.
Yeah. And if you want to send us any other questions, just either Google Plus or Twitter or email us. And any appropriate questions, we'll answer.
Oh, yeah, and all those things are at the end of the show.
Yeah.
All the email address and everything.
All right, soldier, you will shape up and you will listen, because we are now going to talk about Sun Tzu and the art of war. Attention!
All right, so we're still in a chapter of waging war, and we're on number 5. Thus, though we have heard of stupid haste in war, cleverness has never been associated with long delays.
I have 2 books, and this one, I think, explains it a little bit better. I've heard that in war, haste can be folly, but I've never seen delay that was wise.
So, I think this has to do more with, like, supplies and morale of your men, and
it also could be, like, how fast you make your decisions.
I guess so, too, yeah. So, number 6, There's no instance of a country having benefited from prolonged warfare. Yeah, because you're putting so much resources. It came to that one thing about how much money they were having to spend to keep the army going.
Oh, yeah.
Which we talked about in here in Sun Tzu. I'm still trying to think of how this applies to a miniatures game, and I guess it'd just be if you prolong it, it's like, are we about done? Can we just say it's over? That's the only thing I can think about, prolonging it.
Like in a miniatures game, there are some reasons why you would want to prolong a game. Because it doesn't have the same, not the same effect as a nation
Correct.
in war, as it just constantly draining resources.
So this, I don't know about this this part here really applying to miniature warfare. It's like food and morale of your men and long marches, or just sitting there and fighting day after day after day. All right, so number 7, it is only one who is thoroughly acquainted with the evils of war that can thoroughly understand the profitable way of carrying it on.
Yeah, try to see how that applies to miniatures.
I don't, unless you just do when you kill, somebody has to remove one of their stands off, you just do them. Other than that, I don't know. I took your tank out. Yeah, other than that, I don't know.
I don't think that's quite what they're talking about.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I don't know either. So. All right.
Yeah,
and we'll go to number 8, which is the last one we'll hit in this, because the 5 through 8 kind of go together. The skillful soldier does not raise a second levy. Neither are his supply wagons loaded with more than twice. So it's just keeping your supply line chain down.
Yeah.
So
on this book says the skillful warrior never conscripts troops a second time, never transports provisions a third.
Oh, that's interesting how this one says twice and that one says a third. Neither is supply wagons loaded more than
twice.
Oh, this says a third?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
So yeah,
one saying like don't do it 2 times the max, and then the other one saying don't do it a third time.
Yeah. So I don't know this chapter here about waging war. I don't know if it applies. I'm kind of seeing what's coming up. I don't know if this applies so much to miniature warfare.
Unless you want to talk about actually building the list.
Okay.
Building your army itself.
There could be a way it could apply, actually, now I'm thinking about it. Is if you're doing a campaign and you're doing a map and there's resources.
That's true.
And you're starting to get this long supply chain going or something like that.
Yeah,
or you're like running out of resources because you're just delaying instead of attacking.
Yeah.
And you're not getting more resources because you're not attacking. You're just sitting there and you're, using up your resources. Okay, that's the way I could see this applying.
Yeah, it goes that way. I was looking at it like other ways, like as actually putting together your army itself. But that's kind of.
I'm trying to picture how that. Help me out on that. What do you mean?
Well, let's see here. Take without a full understanding the harm caused by war, it's possible to understand the most profitable way of conducting it. I read it, I was like, this is very loose. But
it's hard. To me, this chapter is going to be hard to pull into miniature warfare.
Well, I was thinking, like, need to have an idea of how the game is played before you decide how you're going to put your money into making the army you're going to play. It was where I was going.
Yeah, and if you prolong too long, the other players are going to leave you behind and play something else.
Yeah.
There you go. That's how we'll apply it.
And now for something completely off topic.
All right, we just recently played a game that was new for both of us. I mean, I didn't even look at the cards before before we played, and that was the Villains and Vigilantes card game, and it's put out by, make sure I get this, Game Salute, and it came out in 2014, and part of the people
The card game.
Yeah, it's a card game, and it's kind of like Sentinels of the multiverse, in which each hero has their own deck. With Sentinels multiverse, if you want to play Legacy or whatever, you've got your own Legacy deck. You want to play.
Well, multiple characters share a deck.
Yeah, that is one of the differences. Is that you can have. There's two characters that you can play that use the same deck.
That comes with the base game.
Right. So it was a total of 8. Yeah. So there's a total of 4 bad guys, 4 good guys, but there's only 2 decks for each side.
Yeah.
So, I have one here. I got a superhero named Condor and a superhero named Shatterman, but they use the same deck. And you can play, depending upon the number of players, you can play one of those heroes or both.
The villain deck I had Crossfire, who kind of looked like Vega from Street Fighter, and Mercury Mercenary.
Sounds like he's fast. I'm just saying Mercury. I'm just thinking fast, speedster. So you had the bad guys.
Yeah.
You had a couple bad guys. I had a couple of the good guys. We were playing a 4-player game. So in a 4-player game, each of us only take one character. Yeah. And it started off. You got a city. There's different locations, and there's a
4x4 grid.
There's City Hall. There was a jail. I remember there was a jail because it sent somebody to jail.
The map is a 4x4 grid.
Yeah. Different locations like a university, but then it has subscripts in laboratory, park. This is a jail, but also a laboratory. A lot of laboratories. So they got also in areas some stuff because you can only play cards in certain areas.
Yeah.
And you decide where you're going to put your HQ. The heroes and the villains decide where they're going to play the HQ. And there's no movement in the game like you get 4 movement. If you want to move, you got to play cards. Yeah. And your character can only do so many things a turn. It's called skills. And each card has a cost to it. So I had 4 skill. So if I played a move card, that costs 2 of my skill just to move 1 space. And if I played another one, I move 2 spaces, I'm done.
Yeah. Also, there's 2 decks. This is important.
Yes.
There's a support deck, which at the beginning of your turn, you can draw so many whatever cards you want and have your hand, and then discard down. And then when you use those cards, it goes back to your support deck.
Yeah, so you never out. Your support deck's always there,
So,
always available.
So if you need certain cards, some basic actions you need to do, is usually in your support deck.
Yeah, and that's
so you can always do.
Like that movement I was talking about.
Yeah.
I had 2 movement cards that I could use,
Yeah.
and they were in the support deck.
Yeah. In my deck, I have better versions of those cards. So I would always do those, but if I didn't draw them, then you might need to grab those. Because I have a movement that's moves 2 spaces and only costs me 1.
Oh, that's like a Condor Man. Well, no, he spends 2, but he can go up to 2 spaces. I was looking at, what is his special thing? And he's got it's a card that only he could use, and allows a little better movement. There's also, I guess that should go from the beginning. So you have the support deck. You also start the big game with, you have 3 missions in your deck, and you choose one of them to start with. So I might have one of them start with 1 or more villains you captured as a capture token at the end of your turn. So if I succeed at that, I get what's called mojo, and whichever player gets 11 mojo wins the game. And if you're on a team, your team wins. And the other deck is what you're going to draw from, and you don't know what you're getting because it's upside down, shuffled. So if you got a hand size of 7 cards, and you play a card, you resolve the card, immediately draw 7. And one of the things you can do is you could always, at the beginning of your turn, like you said, your support deck go, ooh, I want this card and this card. So that means you've got 9 cards in your hand, you have to immediately discard. Don't play, you have to immediately discard down to 7 cards. So you always have that same amount of cards in your hand, unless some power or something may screw you over. And the villains take their turn, then the heroes take their turn, then the villains take their turn, and it goes back and forth till one team gets 11 mojo. And one of the villains, like, I was supposed to just capture you guys, knock you out, capture you, throw you in jail. And then you eventually probably get out. You were, like, trying to beat us up was your missions?
Yeah, 2 of them was like, I have to KO you. And then the third one, I could only do if you're KO'd.
And then the other villain, I think he was, like, mainly trying to destroy areas.
Yeah.
And when you're KO'd in this game, you're not out. You heal, and then you can come back. So it's not, you're KO'd, you're out of the game. No.
Yeah. Actually, this deck had a lot of healing abilities that could be done even if you're KO'd.
Right.
Which will make sense because my character had 1 hit point. So
if you took 2 hits.
I took 2 points of damage. If you take more damage than your hit life, you're KO'd. So I had the least amount in the game.
Yeah, I had a hero that had 4.
Yeah, that seemed like crazy. But I had a lot of...
I was almost down, though.
Yeah.
I was almost down. I had, like, I think I had 3 wounds on me, or 2 or 3 on me. Yeah. And it was like, oh, man, if I start taking more hits, I had no defenses left.
Yeah. I have, a couple of really good defensive. Like, dodge 1, it costs 0. So, like, yes.
Yeah, you play that card and draw another card and see what you get.
Yeah.
So, we didn't get to finish a game. We ran out of time because we were doing some other stuff before this. But I will say I would like to play it again. I like what I found so far in the game. I enjoyed it. It's just learning. It's not a difficult game. I'll say that. It's not a difficult game. It's just learning the cards.
Yeah, and it took a while. Spent like a long time you reading the rules because there's one of the types of rules that, like, just hearing it didn't quite make sense. You kind of have to play it.
And, of course, I've never played it before. So it's kind of like, it was just new to everybody. Another thing I would like to try is, and they talk about it in the book, is you can build your own deck. Yeah. For, you take your hero you want and build the deck you want for that hero instead of using their pre-made decks. Because that's another thing we didn't talk about. Is these characters have, like, some are elemental, some are, like, physical, some are
there are 8
energy.
There's 8 types of powers.
Yeah, and you can't play a card that doesn't match your power, but also there's a level 1, 2, and 3 in each of those powers. And if you're only level 1, you can't play a 2 or 3.
Unless you boost it.
And so that's one thing you have to watch for when you're building your deck is, can your character actually do that? Or, are they high enough level in that power to be able to play that card? And that was one of the problems I found when we were playing it was because it's made for this hero and this other hero, and the other hero is more physical and he's got technology. When I was drawing those cards, I couldn't do anything with them.
Yeah, I was trying to read through the deck construction, and they're, like, it says you can build a deck for 1 to 3 heroes at a time. But I never found where it seems like it's a good idea not to have it just based on one person.
I don't know, because if you're like, okay, if I'm going to play Shatter Man, I'm going to have a deck, and I would have it probably written down, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, let me get the cards. Then if I want to play Condor Man, I'm going to use these cards.
Yeah.
Compared to trying to have... Now, if you're playing in like a 2-player game, you're going to be running both heroes. Then you will get cards you can use. Yeah. So I would be running Shatterman and Condor from the same deck. But if it's like our situation where you're only running one hero, you don't want Condor Man's cards. I don't want Condor Man's cards in the deck because Shatterman can't use them.
Yeah, and there's nothing in the deck construction that implies why you should put that in there. Or there's nothing in the deck construction deck that implies why you have more than one. Why to make your deck be for more than one hero. Because it just seemed like it's better to be one Because the other thing is, what we said, like power could be 1, 2, 3. You can only your heroes can only share one level 2 power.
Wow. Well, neither of mine did. And then in the box set also, it comes with they call it an action pack, and it contains more heroes, villains, missions, henchmen, powers, and plot twists. And then they have come out with an expansion. So right now, I'm enjoying the game, what little we played. I'm understanding more how to play it. I think it'd be a pretty neat little game to play. They say it takes about an hour long. It took us longer than that, but we were trying to learn we were learning the game.
Yeah, trying to form strategies. And there's also a couple of questions I had about some of these cards.
Yeah, it was that mission card we weren't sure about. It was like when do you, what did that mission card say?
Choose a location, KO a super at that location.
When do you choose? Is it when you're ready to KO them? Is that the beginning of the game?
They never said.
Yeah.
I never saw any rules. Because the other mission is choose an opposing super, KO them.
And the other one was worth more.
Yeah.
Mojo.
The one that I'll pick a location.
So why wouldn't you go, he's in the Wonder City Penitentiary. I'm about to KO. I'm going to pick this, and I'm going to KO him. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me that you get more because you KO in that location, but you can pick any time. So, yeah, and I don't know. We tried to find if there was a FAQ or something for it, or somebody asked, and nothing.
Yeah. So, yeah, I need to know that. I need to know if there's any reason not to have a deck built around one person.
Right. Well, I would like to build a deck. And it was something like a 40 card.
Yeah.
Was it minimum?
Yeah.
And we weren't sure if I took out Condor Man's cards, would I be below 40? That was one thing we weren't sure about if we limited our decks like that. Yeah. So yeah, we'll try it again. I think everybody wanted to try it again, since we understand. And the turns, I do say that towards the end of the game, I think the turns did go quicker for everybody.
We started having an idea of what we was going to do. So,
and actually, it started getting pretty tense there because you guys actually, even though you guys didn't think you were beating me up, I was down to maybe 3 or 2 hit points out of my 4.
But the thing is, like, if you're not that KO, you kill one.
But I was also at the point that I couldn't do anything on my turn.
Yeah, and also
because I was playing defense cards on your guys' turn, but that takes away from what I can play on my turn.
Yeah, and but I used almost all my attack cards to do that, and now you're going to start healing.
1. Then you come beat me up again.
If I get the right cards.
Yeah, so we'll play again and we'll see what's going to happen. Well, that wraps up another episode of War Journal, Flames of War. Your host, Arthur and Tracy, thank you for listening to this episode. You can find us on iTunes. If you like the episode, please subscribe and leave a positive review. You can find us on Facebook at Flames of War. And please like us. In addition, you can follow us on Twitter at warjournal_FOW. You can also find us on YouTube. Search for Tracy George, Flames of War. You can read Arthur's blog at chaosmagicwizards.blogspot.com. Finally, you can email us at warjournalflamesofwar@gmail.com. War Journal Flames of War is all one word, so no spaces are required. Also, please share the show on any social media of your choice. So, until next time, as always, have a good game.